Hi everyone and welcome to a new video. In this video we're going to take a look at a project called PundiX. They have been around for quite some time, so in this video we'll take a look at what they've been doing in the past few years, what they're planning to do in this year, and if it's still worth the investment, yes or no. If you like the sound of that, be sure to hit that like button and do not forget to subscribe at the end of the video. So the first question that we have to ask, what is Pundi? Well, PundiX is a project that is a blockchain that is completely focused on making blockchain payments available to the rest of the world. So in 2017, 2018, everybody was talking about blockchain, but it was very hard to use. And they were trying to solve this by creating a POS, which is a point of sale device. So it's basically a terminal that you can use in a store. And by doing this, they wanted to make blockchain a lot more accessible. And they were also trying to solve the issue of the instability of blockchain tokens. So they provided a complete solution going from software to the backbone, so the blockchain, and the hardware itself. Jumping into their white paper from 2017, we see that they had high hopes and big dreams. So back then there were about 9 million active wallets using Bitcoin. At this point there are about 60 million active cryptocurrency wallets, so not just Bitcoin. And they were hoping to see an increase, it seems like in 2018 already, to 100 million wallets. And they had some really big ambitions here, because they were hoping to hit 100 million Pundi wallets in 3 years and then 1 billion in 5 years. If we then evaluate how things went, well, in 2019 they hit about 700,000 registered wallets, so that is a far cry from the 100 million. Jumping into the Google Play Store, I wanted to see how many active downloads they have now in 2021, and sadly I see 100,000 plus. If I'm not mistaken, they also do an update at 500,000 and a million, so I don't know on which operating system they have so many users, but definitely not on Android. Of course, there is nothing wrong with big ambitions, and especially at the end of 2017, everybody had high hopes for the blockchain and everybody thought it would go to the moon and that it was unstoppable. So everything was based on those numbers. Now, of course, we know the big correction of 2018 and the bear market of 2018-19 all the way up to 2020. So then we jump to the next target, which is of course the point of sale devices that they created themselves. This was 100,000 by the end of 2020. Sadly, they didn't hit that number yet. But this is probably why they decided in 2019, continuing in 2020, to look for partnerships in the POS business. So we see partnerships at the end of 2019 with Ingenico and then with Verifone, and in 2020 they added PAX as well. Now, why are these partnerships so important? So first, when we go to the Xpos page, this is the page of the terminal itself. We see 3 different versions. They look really nice. The interface looks great, and I'm certain they work very well. So you just order one, they arrive, you plug them in, and you can start accepting crypto payments. So that is very good news. We also see that you can integrate Visa, MasterCard, Apple Pay, and Samsung Pay, but this is not working out of the box. You have to sign up with a third-party acquirer. So this is a lot of extra paperwork and extra work. Now, where does the problem come in? If I already have a terminal, then it is expensive to buy another terminal just to accept crypto payments. So I can imagine this is a big issue for smaller shops. So if you have then some very good partnerships and you have a very popular terminal and you can just install the Xpos system, that would be of course a lot easier, and the financial challenge is not there because you don't have to buy a new terminal. Now, when it comes to a technical perspective, I don't know how easy it is to install the Xpos system, so it would have even been better if Xpos would be installed by default, but from what I understand, this is not happening yet. Additionally, it's also important to note that the partnership with Ingenico, for example, is only on one specific terminal. Scrolling down, we see indeed the confirmation that you have to install the Xpos module on your point of sale device, so it's not installed by default. Then jumping over to their latest partner, PAX, we see that these guys already have shipped 40 million terminals and they're only number 3 in the world. Well, only, of course, it's nice, but you can imagine how big this market is. And if you then know that the target for the Xpos system was 100,000, then you can imagine that that is definitely not enough to change how the world does their payments. When looking at their products, we also see that they have a ton of different devices. So again, if they only integrate in 1 or 2 of these devices and the app is not installed by default, I don't think it's enough to make the progress that they were hoping in the beginning at the launch of this project. So scrolling down into the white paper, we see how they want to solve this mission. So they're going to create their own wallet. They have a smart card to do your payments, and they have, of course, the entire Pundi platform that will allow you to integrate your hardware and software into their ecosystem. So this resulted into the PundiX mobile, which is now the XWallet. Then we have the PundiX card and the PundiX platform with all the SDKs and APIs to integrate your product into theirs. So scrolling down further, we get more information on the PundiX platform, and we see that only a portion is on the Ethereum blockchain. This is of course to make everything faster, but this also means that the system is not fully decentralized. Then moving down, we get a little bit of information about the token. We'll dive into that after this. Then we have the roadmap. Of course, this is no longer up to date. And then we have the team, so they're very open about who they are as well. And we see their management team and so forth. So right now, when we go back to the homepage, we see that we have the terminals. They are working, operational, and they're being used. Then we see the card, which is basically similar to your Metro card. It is a payment card that can only be used within the Xpos ecosystem. Then we have the XWallet, which is basically a blockchain wallet, which can also be integrated with Binance Chain wallet. So not Binance Smart Chain, just a regular Binance Chain. So right now I think that has become irrelevant. And then they have their own dApp market within the wallet. And they have integrated Telegram and a way to send gifts. All of this is of course being driven and held together by the NPXS token, which is a token that you can buy on the exchanges. So it is a utility token, it is an ERC20 token, and it is being used each time somebody, for example, wants to put an app on their own app store. Their app store is based on Android 7.0. And every time somebody publishes an app, they take away 30%, and then that 30% in fees is being burned. So this means that the token is deflationary, which is good news. Then they have a reward system just to boost the utility of the token. Then here we see the token flow. And then of course, every time somebody does a transaction, the token is being used as well. So the last feature that we see on the website is the PundiX Open Platform. So this is a dashboard that can be used for developers. If you have your own blockchain, your own token, this is what you're going to use to register your token on the PundiX platform so that people can use it in their payment ecosystem. So it is very open to other developers and other systems. So that's definitely a good feature to have. The last topic you'll find on the website is FunctionX, and when you click it, it'll take you to a completely different website, and this is because this is a completely different project. It is an entirely new blockchain made by the same team as PundiX. So if the price goes up when the mainnet launches, do keep in mind this has nothing to do with the Pundi token, it's a completely different token. Scrolling down, we'll quickly look at it, but this is worth an entirely new video. So basically, they want to create a better internet, and they're going to use the IPFS system. It is similar to the Graph, so it's a blockchain database system. They're going to make their own blockchain pulling data out of the system, and then they're going to make their own transfer protocol. This will initially work on a modified version of the Android OS, which will be called XOS, and then of course they will have their own dApps. So what problem are they solving? Right now this is how the internet works. It is very easy to intercept your data or block everything that you want to do, and this is how the FXTP system will work. They already made their own phone. Yes, they're making their own hardware again. I do think this is more of a gadget, but it's nice to have a proof of concept, of course. Now that we know what the hopes and dreams were, and we see what they have made so far, what the partnerships are, and how the system works, I think it's important to look at the progress that they made. So they're very good at communicating. They have monthly reports, quarterly reports, annual reports, and so forth. So I quickly took a look at the annual reports. So in 2018, of course, there was a lot of success. We see 25 countries. We have 300,000 Xpasses, of which 50,000 were activated, and 5,500 point of sale devices. Right, then we jump to 2019. We see that they had surpassed 700,000 XWallet users, which is nice. Then they have 180,000 cards issued as of 2019, and this worries me because at the end of 2018 they had 300,000 cards, of which 50 thousand got activated, and now they're only at 180,000. We also see that they launched the block-on-block phone. That's the phone for the new blockchain, which then officially got announced at CES at the beginning of 2020. Then we jump to the 2020 report, and this worries me. We don't see any numbers anymore. And usually if you got great numbers, you will show them off. So if they would have more than 700,000 users, for example, if they went over 1 million, they would have put it in here for sure. So that was definitely slowing down. We don't see any information on how many of the Xpos units that they sold. We don't see any very big integrations, so no numbers usually worries me. When we then jump to the main page, we see that Xpos is available in about 30 plus countries. If you then know that in 2018 they had 25 plus countries, that means that in the past 3 years they were only able to add 5 or 6 extra countries. So when it comes to progress, that isn't looking very good. This of course begs the question, what the hell happened this year? So in the beginning of the year we don't see anything special, then we see a little bump here in February, then a big bump by the end of February, and then a huge push in March. So why is this happening? Thankfully they have very good communication, so I jumped to their monthly report for January, and we see some small updates to the merchant portal. This shouldn't have any influence, some updates to XWallet, and then some updates to the FunctionX blockchain, which of course is a different blockchain. Then we see some small updates here, some tweets, but nothing really special. We have a token burn here that could have influenced the price a little in January, but otherwise nothing really happening in January. Jumping to the monthly report of February, we see something similar. We have some updates to the merchant portal, we have some updates to the XWallet, and we see a small partnership for 100 devices and 10,000 Xposes. Then we see that a local hostel in Japan is using the system. Of course, it's nice that they give attention to the smaller users as well. And we see some more tweets, and then we see an interesting one. So on February the 16th, they did a poll concerning the supply reduction. We then take a look at the graph. We see indeed on February 16th, the price started moving up. So this is when basically the news got announced that they were going to do a supply reduction, which then later got confirmed that the community agrees with it. Then the price went down, and then we see another big bump on March 12th. So what happened then? We see a very important post: token reduction, token burn, token buyback explained. So more of the same effect. Of course, when you reduce the supply, the price usually goes up. We've seen something similar with the CRO token. Sadly, usually this also means that a lot of people are just playing on this effect and they're not buying the token for the project itself, and then usually the price will crash. So if this is really the reason why the token is pumping, then I'm afraid the price will correct itself in April very quickly. Alright, it's time for the conclusion. So right now I do think all the price action is very speculative and purely based on the supply reduction along with some FOMO and not on fundamentals. When we take a look at what was the goal in 2018, we see that we still haven't hit that 100,000 devices. We see that we have issues with getting enough users. Right now I don't think we already have 1 million XWallet users. And then we will look at the report. We see that the biggest challenge is of course user adoption and compliance. If we then keep in mind that both Visa and MasterCard are entering the space, and that everyone who makes a POS device and every payment gateway already wants to work with Visa and MasterCard or is already working with them, then you can imagine the biggest threat right now is that, for example, MasterCard or Visa would make a similar system and just push it from top down. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the Pundi team has done some amazing things, and that the FunctionX blockchain is looking very good, but it's a different project. It is not PundiX. And then when it comes to the team, of course, they have a lot of knowledge, and maybe the company that is now powering PundiX might be acquired, but keep in mind you don't own a part of that company. The PundiX blockchain is completely standalone, so even if the company gets acquired, it doesn't mean that the PundiX token is going up, because those two things are separate as well. So if you're wondering if I'm going to buy the token, well, I'm not going to buy the token because I think all the price action for the supply reduction is already calculated into the price right now. And I don't believe that the chances are good that they're going to be super successful in the long run. So I'm sadly not going to invest into the token. When it comes to price prediction, we are of course still in a bull run, so it is very possible that we'll still hit the all-time highs and surpass the all-time highs. But again, this is a pretty short-term play, and I'm not going to take the risk. I am interested in the function X blockchain, and I'm definitely going to keep an eye on the PundiX team, because I do think they did a great job and that they have a lot of knowledge. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Alright, that's it for this video. If you don't agree with my analysis, or if I missed something, please post a comment. I'm really open for a discussion or different views. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and in general, just post a comment, because that will help push this video in the YouTube algorithm. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.